Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, is out on Max. This is the first ever documentary released under the DC Studios brand, interestingly. It of course tells the story of Christopher Reeve, the actor who first portrayed Superman in movies in the 1970s and 1980s, and then later in 1995 suffered a terrible fall from a horse, which left him paralyzed from the neck down for the remainder of his life. The film has an interesting narrative structure where it's not told straight up chronologically, but rather jumping back and forth between the times after the accident and before it, sort of thematically tying up various threads. If the past storyline, for instance, explains how his relationship with his children looked like, for instance, then we jump to the future to see what changed and how that relationships are different now, which I think is very well done and makes for smooth, natural transitions. But it also does a great job of contrasting the two versions of Reeve, so to speak. The pre-accident, he was a Superman on the outside, great physique, charisma, very outspoken, fantastic smile, but also somehow flawed when it came to his personal relationships. Kind of selfish in the approach to parenting and romantic relations, avoiding commitment. And there is a bit from an interview from that time where he himself ends up saying, "I'm not Superman, I'm not a hero, and I never will be a hero." And then after the accident, it's kind of reversed in a way. He can no longer walk or move, but he discovers this other side of himself, a side that cares much more about family and the important people in his life, that wants to do activism and shed light on the plight of other disabled people in the US and overseas, raising money for various causes, various types of research, which we can now say with confidence helped make progress to combat these issues and helped people after accidents similar to his walk. There's a lot of archival footage, lots of interviews with his family members and friends. I loved how prominent the mentions of his longtime friendship with Robin Williams were, and it manages to be both informative and tear-jerkingly emotional. It got to me. It got me to the point of tears a couple of times. But the amazing thing is, those weren't necessarily tears of sadness, but rather tears at being moved by someone so wonderful at the end of the day, and at the sad and perhaps poignant beauty of some of those moments. There is certainly hope and a sort of will to live permeating through this documentary, and it ends up being pretty damn inspiring. Good stuff.